scores twice to turn the game around in the third period.
So the Bruins win this one 6-3. And this was a game they needed. After losing against the Ottawa Senators in shootouts, that was a heartbreaking loss that they let slip away from them. The Bruins, while down 3-2 going into the third period, keep up the offensive zone pressure and eventually break that dam and start getting some goals. A few players that stood out to me in this performance was Wahlstrom. I really liked what I saw with his speed, and he got a helper on the night. I thought he played really, really well overall, and considering Freddie was benched due to an illness, shout out for hating on this, a residently known Frederic hater in this Bruins Facebook group I'm in, link down below in the description. But I actually think that third line with Wahlstrom, Lettieri, and Lindholm is probably one of the better versions we've seen all season. Wahlstrom's speed is really, really needed in this roster. And while you could argue that the San Jose Sharks are not world beaters, they still play top-end teams very difficult. They have a lot of young talent on that team. For me, it's just a matter of when that team becomes a good team eventually. Another standout in tonight was Matthew Patra. He had 2 apples. He had a very, very nice assist on a Charlie Coyle goal. You know, these guys, Lettieri, he gets a redirect goal. The guys they've called up are really contributing and playing nicely, in my opinion, and making it a little bit more difficult for Sweeney to send them down when they're getting on the scoreboard so much. Charlie Coyle would have a very good night, 2 goals and 1 assist for a 3-point night. Good to see Coyle break through, especially since he's been struggling to score goals. Let's talk about the first goal of the game, Lettieri. This guy, the way he positions himself for the tip-in, doesn't get too close to the goal. He allows himself just enough room to operate so he can redirect that. Goes 5-hole on Askarov. The Bruins go up 1-0. And I would say, in the first period, I thought the Bruins looked pretty damn good. Again, it's a good forechecking, good offensive zone time. Askarov made some really nice stops here in the first period. And everything was going well until just a miscommunication between the goaltender, and I believe it was Zadorov behind the net, and Gaudreau is just wide open in front. He ties it up for the San Jose Sharks. We go into the first intermission with this game being 1-1, where I could argue there was plenty of opportunities for the Bruins to be up at least 1-2, maybe even 3 goals after the first. But have no fear, David Pastrnak is here. It doesn't have to look pretty. It just has to go in the back of the net. He shoots it, and it goes off a defender of the San Jose Sharks and just banks in. Very much needed power play goal. The Bruins power play is starting to come alive as of recent. That's a good sign for the Bruins. They go up 2-1. And the second goal for the Sharks happened a little under 2 minutes later. I feel like this is one Korpisalo's got to have. He was not expecting Will Smith to shoot this puck. I understand that, but glove side, short side, that one I believe he's got to have. Sharks tie it up 2-2. And, you know, I would still say the Bruins, for the most part, dictated a lot of the play, but another breakdown. Zetterlund follows his own rebound, and he finishes off Korpisalo. The Bruins are now down 3-2. And this Shark team does have some very good young talent on it, but these type of defensive letdowns just cannot happen. And while they're not an amazing team record-wise, they have tons of talent. You cannot just fall asleep at the wheel and expect not to get hurt by doing so. But the Bruins in the third period, luck would be on their side. This was a very, very pretty play. Marchand to Patra to Coyle. Tic-tac-toe type. Very, very nice. I liked the cycle I saw there from the Bruins. Coyle gets on the board for his 11th of the season. Now it's tied up 3-3. And the Bruins, a little bit later, Charlie Coyle would get another goal. He's trying to center this. It goes off Askarov skating in. Now it's 4-3. And That's not a great goal to let in, but Askarov made a lot of beautiful saves in this game. He was spectacular, kind of showcasing why he was taken so high in the NHL draft and why the Nashville Predators viewed him so highly. And I believe the San Jose Sharks have themselves a franchise goaltender for the future, but unfortunately for him, that goes off a skating in. Bruins are now up 4-3. San Jose Sharks would pull their goaltender, and we all know, if you're a Bruins fan, you got to kind of get a little nervous when the other team pulls the goaltender in 6-on-5, because the Bruins team loves to ice it, panic with the puck, and just overall do poor hockey IQ things. But that just turned out not to be the case. Brad Marchand, very smart with the puck here, makes sure he gets over the red line, allows himself to have a better opportunity to score on the empty net. He scores. That makes it 5-3. Then a little bit later, Lindholm would get on the board with another empty net goal, assisted by Charlie Coyle. Lindholm looked a little guilty that he scored there, even though Coyle fed him. And that would be the end of the game there. 6-3 Bruins win. Again, I was very impressed with Wahlstrom in this game. I thought he used his speed to his benefit. I think Patra has looked solid. He had 2 apples on the night. Lettieri, I mean, since getting called up, 2 goals in 3 games. That's more than you're probably expecting from a guy in the AHL. So that's really good to see. The Bruins had some problem in their transition game. It wasn't always clean. And defensively, they're still having these problems of just losing their assignments or some miscommunication between the play. I think that can get fixed. I don't think that's necessarily a talent thing. I just think the Bruins get a little bit careless at times, and the San Jose Sharks made them pay for it. I think Korpisalo had a really good game, all things considered. Yeah, that Will Smith goal, that's one he should have had, but he made a spectacular save, just all sprawled out glove save. I believe it was like late in the third period to keep the Bruins up by 1 goal. He earned his paycheck today. Yeah, the goal you want to have back, but Korpisalo made some nice stops. If this Bruins team is going to be a playoff contender, they're going to have more 200-foot effort performances similar to this one. I thought the offensive zone pressure was a lot better in comparison to what we saw in Ottawa. They had some good cycles. And honest discussion, I think the Bruins are better with Frederic sitting. That might be a hot take for some. I have not been impressed with Frederic during this season. I have not seen the hustle every night. I think Wahlstrom adds a different dimension to this lineup that Frederic can't. And I think this ensures that I don't think Frederic's going to be returning as a Bruins next season. Maybe that's a massive step, massive leap to take. I just think this team would be better off giving Wahlstrom some time in that third line in comparison to a guy like Frederic, who just, what's his best attribute? Sometimes winning fights. It's just not good enough, in my personal opinion. And with Wahlstrom and Lettieri, is it ideal to have Lindholm in the middle in a third line role? Not exactly for what you're paying him, but I liked the line. I thought they looked pretty damn solid, and maybe with some chemistry, you could start to see more production from that line. I think Geekie, Pasternak, and Zacha had some nice moments in this game as well. Geekie has really come into his own. I mean, he hits the crossbar. He misses just by a few inches of getting another goal because he's been on an absolute tear. There's signs here that the Bruins are far better than what they've been kind of showcasing us in the last couple months. Maybe, just maybe, Patra and Lettieri could be the couple pieces to infuse a little bit more energy in this lineup. And Wahlstrom, maybe he's just the better option right now instead of Frederic. But I'd like to know your thoughts down below in the comments section. What did you think of the game? Were you impressed by Wahlstrom, Lettieri, Patra? Who impressed you the most in this game? And what do you believe is the future for Frederic? Do you believe the Bruins would be better off with rocking with Wahlstrom over Frederic? Or do you believe that Frederic has some value to being out there? I'm Captain Paul. See you in the next one.